Hey, everybody. We are live with Mr. Kurt Nelson of Spyence. Like, he's got the coolest stuff out there. And so, Kurt, I'm going to let you just go right ahead and tell everybody what you do. And thank you for being one of our ministry partners, but we'll talk about that later. So, what do you do, Kurt?
Thank you. So I create the Spyence curriculum, and it's just so fun. Like God has just been so good to me. When I was a kid, I loved movies, and especially special effects movies, and I was kind of the Star Wars generation. And when I went off to college, I got to work on Arnold Schwarzenegger's Total Recall movie as a special effects artist. And then I got hired as at Walt Disney Imagineering as a special effects engineer, and that was so fun and such a great experience. But after I did that for
Okay,
a
I'm
while,
sorry. I have to stop you. I've got a little bit of the fangirl thing going on right now. I had no idea. I just thought you were like a Kidman guy who decided to write a curriculum, and here you're a special effects person.
yeah, I grew up in LA and I just loved movies, and I went to Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, and that was kind of my goal, was to work on movies and ultimately to work at Walt Disney Imagineering, which was awesome. And they were building Euro Disney at the time, so they needed a lot of people. So I got to work on Euro Disney, and
Okay, I totally interrupted your flow. So how did this combine with curriculum and Jesus and kids ministry and all that?
yeah, well, so I was a believer this whole time, and even while I was working at Disney, God opened a door. I was feeling called to do ministry. And God miraculously got me into a teaching credential program that I shouldn't have been able to get into. And I wanted to be a missionary to the public schools. And with my background, I thought I could teach physics. And so God got me into this program, and I became a high school physics teacher in California for 5 years. And just after I got tenured at the best school in Santa Barbara and was living the life with my wife, and our kids were 0 and 3, I felt like God was telling me, I want you to quit and go to seminary. And I was like, well, how am I going to tell Ruth this news? And I literally worried about it for 3 months. And then we were driving home from a wedding in San Diego, her sister's wedding. And I turned to Ruth and I said, I wasn't going to tell this story. This is funny. But I said, honey, I think God wants me to go to seminary, quit my job and go to seminary. And she goes, I know. And I go, what? And she goes, yeah, he told me. And I go, when did God tell you? And she said, 3 months ago. And I went, oh, I've been worrying for 3 months for nothing. God spoke to us both separately. And it was just great confirmation.
Oh my
And so,
gosh.
yeah, we put everything we had in a U-Haul and our two daughters, and we drove up to Portland to go to Western Seminary. No jobs at all, hardly any savings, and just like God, just when our money ran out, He provided a job, and I became an associate pastor. And it
Okay,
was
this is hilarious. I love that you even said I wasn't going to tell this story. This happens every time I do an interview or almost. We go in some direction, but I'm going to just tell you somebody needs to hear it because
Hmm,
whether people are watching live or later, every time we go on weird tangents, somebody needs to hear it. But we are so grateful to have you as a ministry partner. I want to make sure you get to talk about your Spyence curriculum because I don't know a lot about it. And so, for those of you watching live or later, we are gearing up for our Small Church Kidmin and Youth Ministry Conference. It's happening this coming Saturday. So, hopefully, you're watching live and you can still grab your ticket. The whole live conference is completely free at smallchurchsummits.com. You can get your free ticket there. It happens in this very cool online platform called Hopin. So, please don't think this conference happens on Facebook because it doesn't. Like sometimes people pop on Facebook and they're like, where is it? You got to get a ticket. You got to get a ticket. We'll give you all the information you need. So grab your free ticket. But Kurt Nelson is here from Spyence Kids Curriculum. He is a ministry partner with us and put something into our VIP bundle. So basically, you're helping us keep our conferences free. So we are so grateful. But tell us about this curriculum. And while you're talking, I'm going to pull up your website and you can even tell us about like where to navigate on that because that's kind of fun.
okay. So through this weird path God took me on, I became a kids children's ministry pastor at our own church here in Corvallis, sorry, and I did that for 11 years. And my favorite part was teaching the combined kindergarten through fifth grade kids church class. But I couldn't find exactly the curriculum that I wanted
Okay,
for that
wait a minute.
class.
Your favorite part was teaching a mixed age class?
Oh yeah, I love. So we first service we had the classes split into tiny Sunday school classes, and then the second hour all the kids combined, and it was more high energy worship and really fun. And so I loved teaching that. And um,
Sweet.
yeah, and after a while we had a really strong team of like mostly men in kids church, which wasn't my goal or anything, but it just happened to be. And then I just got a lot of interesting comments that kids go through the children's ministry, and it's usually female role models in Sunday school and church. But
Yep.
anyway, us guys had so much fun in kids church with the kids, and yeah, it was ideal. But the curriculum choices, I didn't have the exact curriculum I wanted, so I eventually said, I'm just going to make my own curriculum, and only I won't think about cost or difficulty or anything. I'll just say the only question I'll ask is that would I have wanted that in my curriculum? And so, yeah, so I started making the Spyence curriculum, and so there's the website. That's the homepage at spyencetv.com, and there's two buttons. The top one is for curriculum, and the bottom one is for families if they just want to do this at home as a
Oh, how
devotional.
fun.
But for you guys, yeah, click on that orange button because then you get all the opening games and all the other things, so that you can see a children's ministry pastor talk about it. There's a bunch of buttons like you can learn the scope and sequence, or see reviews from guys like Josh Denhart and Carl Bastian. You can go to the store, or at the very bottom, actually scroll back down where you just
Uh-huh.
were. You can put in your name and your email address and then click that blue button, and it'll take you to a page where you can view the videos for 1 week and download the
Sweet.
teacher's guide and just see exactly what you're getting. And you'll be put on our newsletter and get a devotional every Friday and some Kidmin Thoughts every Monday. So yeah, check it out. So Spines, it's a kids church curriculum. So like on Sunday morning, it's got like lesson plans. You get lesson plans, and it tells you exactly, like if you have a inexperienced teacher, it's really good because it says like, okay, put up this slide, and it comes with all the slides. And then in bold, this is like what you say. And then there's also like a bunch of notes just to help the teacher. So you can just hand this
Love
to
that.
somebody. Super easy to use. Or if you're an experienced teacher, you'll glance through it and go, oh, okay, this is a good idea. Oh, I know what I'm going to do for this part. And you can change it up yourself. But so it's basically like one unit of the curriculum is called a season, because we not thought kids know what a season of their favorite show is, whereas what's it, we're doing the curriculum unit on salvation now
Yeah.
or whatever. So, and then in each week in that season there's a short episode of an adventure at Spyence headquarters. So there's heroes, and there's
Oh, that's so fun. I love your background. I love your story. Like I'm so excited to talk to you. Like I could talk to you for a really long time. This curriculum, you've spent most of your time in church ministry. You shared that you were in churches under 200, even under 150. So you've spent a lot of time in small churches. How does this meet some needs of small churches that maybe some of the other big box curriculum doesn't? Like, can you talk about that a little bit?
yeah, I think it's real helpful. Even well, there's so many different things I want to say, but let me think of. So when you do this curriculum, one thing I love about it is that it has those videos. And just in case anybody's got the wrong idea, it's not like you plop the kids in front of the TV for 30 minutes, but they're like 5 minute. There's two 5 minute segments, and
Fun.
for a teacher at a small church, you probably have all these things going through your mind while you're teaching, because you're in charge of everything there, and you're trying to figure out how long the service is going, and you have to cut material or stretch it out, and like you're thinking about that kid, you drive that behavior. Should I stop that, or is that just going to kind of die out on its own? Oh,
Right.
I forgot to set up the hands-on activity. Oh, I wish I had a minute to talk to my volunteer assistant and to let her know. And so I love when you're teaching along in this curriculum, and then there's a 5 minute video that prepares the kids for the next part of the lesson. Like one of the heroes learns a Bible lesson or asks a question that sets you up. But while you're playing that video, your teacher gets a chance to take a breath, take a drink of water, go talk to the assistant teacher, say, oh, can you set this
Okay.
up?
I have to tell you, I love that because when I speak, even at conferences, I'm going to give people a little secret right here. Sometimes when I'm speaking, I get kind of like, I don't know where I'm going. Like I kind of lose my place or I got kind of passionate. I don't know where I'm going. And one of my go-tos is I'll say, "Now, I just want everybody just to stop for a minute and just think like, why are we doing this?" And if I'm in a
Mm.
live audience, I'll say, "Hey, turn to somebody and just talk about why we're talking." But it's my
Oh,
five
that's
minute, it's
good.
my time. Like it's my time to go, okay, where am I? And so what you're saying is the video kind of serves like that. Like you get a little breather time to figure out where you're going. Okay, I love that.
Exactly. And
Love
so,
that.
yeah, you're say you have a 60-minute class or 75 or 90, you're showing like 10 minutes of video. So it really is all the majority is teacher led, but I really think the videos actually help the teacher connect with the kids better
Yes.
because they get that moment. Or they can, if the kid's starting to, you can say, I think it might be good if you moved. I can see there's going to be a problem here.
Yeah.
Or get this, you might even get to pray in the middle of your lesson and ask for some wisdom and discernment. So that's very helpful. So I think it would be a great fit in small churches. And like if you do get it, it's in the VIP bundle. So if anybody got that, they get one season. That's 6 episodes. If you didn't get the VIP bundle and you can't afford Spyence, my wife and I, we really want people to use Spyence. That's like why we're making it, right? So if the cost is a problem, we don't want anybody to not use it because of the cost. So really email me. I think you can put up my email or somehow and just let me know. Like say our church only has a budget for $20, for this quarter, or $10 or $0, whatever. We'd rather have you use it than not use it because of the cost.
Okay, like I'm starting to cry right now. Like I'm literally getting teary because we have our ministry partners, you all, they are so generous. That is so generous, Kurt. Like I can't even believe you just said that. I didn't know that was like coming out here today at all. And I appreciate it. There's going to be small churches out there that say, no way, really? Like, is this even possible? Because one of the hard things in small churches is that like sometimes there's these things that they really want and they really can't afford it. So wow, that's amazing.
Yes,
And
please
wow.
do. Like if you're listening and you're thinking, well, I don't want to bother him or whatever, it would like make our day to get an email and be able to send it to you. So please do. We really do like get excited every time a new church starts using it.
That is so sweet. Angela Marks is one of our
Oh, thanks,
speakers at the
Angela.
conference. I don't know if you know her. Sherry's here from North
I know
Carolina.
who
We've
she
got
is.
people
Yeah.
watching now from the UK.
Oh,
So super, super sweet. I'll make sure if people want your email, we'll get that out to them somehow. And I do want to talk about like what you put in the VIP. I'm trying to screen share. I'm not as techie as you are. So it's going to take me just a second here. Because you put a full like season in the VIP bundle, right?
yeah. So there's a bunch of children's ministry curriculums that go through the Bible story, which is like what's the word? I mean, you just have to do. I mean, kids have to get
Oh
the
yeah.
big picture of the Bible before they get out of elementary school. But then I think it's also helpful to zoom back and look at it a different way, which is like it's called systematic theology, but it's just instead of looking chronologically, it's just picking a topic like the Holy Spirit and then pulling all the passages from the whole Bible and looking at those together with the kids. And that's how our curriculum is arranged. So the first unit is on salvation. And so we just go through every stage of salvation, starting with evangelism and then putting your faith in Jesus for justification, and then sanctification and growing in your faith, and then glorification that we're looking forward to someday. So that first unit is 6 weeks of lessons on salvation. And it gives you it starts with the forming of Spyence headquarters in the video, so the kids get to kind of see the backstory, and then so yeah, check it out. Those are
That's
the
so cool.
heroes. That you can see the 2 heroes in the middle. Those 2 young ladies are my daughters, and then
Oh,
the
that's super
fellow
sweet too.
the fellow on the left is my son-in-law, and the lady on the right is my daughter's best friend from high school. So
Oh,
we
so it's like a family thing. Okay, so I
yeah.
put this picture up. I hope it wasn't too distracting when you were talking. So this is just a snippet of everything in the VIP bundle. So for those of you who like have looked at the VIP bundle, it's like the best one ever. These are all digital resources, but I put this up because my daughter said, I love it when Spyence is here because they have such a good graphic. And that's why they put you in the middle. And now we know you're like an animation, special effects guy. No wonder it's like so cool looking. So hey, it says
Thank you.
that there's science experiments in your
Oh yeah.
Tell
Yeah,
us
so
about that.
Yeah, so each week, so being a former physics teacher, each week we call them a Spyence experiment, but they're mostly science experiments, and sometimes they're more like cool crafts. But each week I go by the like, would kids think this was so cool that they would want to take it home and show it to their friends? And each week in the lesson it says, take this home, show it to your friends, tell them how much fun you have in Sunday school, and invite them to come with you next week. Just say our church is super awesome. And so I actually grabbed the last one that I taught at our church. So we did the Spyence curriculum on Easter, and
Uh-huh.
this was the Spyence experiment the kids made in class and take home to tell the Easter story. And so they learn this story, and it's so the videos I got from kids telling it at home, it's just amazing. But since I don't have permission to share any of those, I'll just show you what the story looks like. So they make this picture of Jesus, and they say, here's the Easter story that Jesus was God, and he came down to this earth and lived a perfect life, but he died on the cross and got in trouble for the bad things we did. He really died on the cross, and they took him down and put him in a tomb. So Jesus was alive, he really died, and he was dead in the tomb on Friday night, all day Saturday night. But on Sunday morning, Jesus' heart started beating again. Boom, boom. His lungs started breathing again. And his eyes popped open. Now, Jesus was dead. How could he come back to life? On the other hand, he's Jesus. He's eternal, all powerful, unstoppable. How could he stay dead? So on Easter morning, surprise, Jesus came back to life. And he was really dead, and he really came back to life. And he appeared to the women at the tomb, and then he appeared to the disciples, and he appeared to 500 of them at the same time. But that's the Easter message, that Jesus died for our sins and rose from the dead so that whoever believes in him can have eternal life and live with God forever. And then we tell the kids, take that home and tell that story to your friends and invite them to church. And so that's one example of the Spyence experiment.
I'm just still going back to the Imagineer experience and the going to become a teacher, kind of missionary and seminary. And now you're writing kids curriculum. Like, I'm just trying to put it
Yeah,
all together. Like, it's like when you look back at your life and you're like, God has designed me. He like created me for this right now. Like all those experiences.
that's exactly where that story was going. And now that I think about it, was like, yeah, I didn't know at the time, but every single one of those prepared me in a certain way for Spyence. So the just another example or evidence that God's in control and he's good and he deserves all the glory. And while I'm telling that story, I should also give credit to my wife, Ruth, who has more faith than I do and always says yes. And my kids who grew up just ready for the next adventure, whatever it was. So
Oh, that's so awesome. Hey, you all, if you're watching live or later, I just want to encourage you, if you get the VIP bundle and you use Kurt's curriculum, or if you take him up on, emailing him and getting some free curriculum for your church or discounted, or you can pay what you can afford, whatever that looks like when you work it out, would you please also email Kurt and let him know how it goes? Like, give them some testimonies, because I don't know how you feel, but when people use my resources, like, I need to hear back. Like, when they send me an email, say, hey, I love it. It's like, it's the rare gem, and it just goes, I can keep going. You know what I mean? Like, I can keep doing this. And so we love to hear, but if you're going to use this curriculum, please, like, feedback some generosity and give them some feedback. Let them know, like, give them some stories, because it's so fun to hear. Do you have any good stories of churches who've used your curriculum that you can share with us, or even your own use of it with your kids that you're, ministering to?
yeah, so after I quit or stepped down from my job at the church to do this, and I still go to the same church, and I'm actually a volunteer in the children's ministry now instead of the leader of it, which is really fun in a lot of ways to just be able to go in and just have fun and not get those calls Saturday night about who's sick or who can't show up. But so I'm still at the same church, but there was a while, where it was kind of getting discouraging, because I mean, we have a CGI animator who does the evil robots, and we send it off to a guy who writes the musical score, and it just takes, every week's lesson takes so long to get done that there
Yeah.
were twice in the last year and a half that I've gotten pretty discouraged, and twice that I remember telling Ruth, my wife, one night, boy, I don't know what God's doing. It seems like it's going really slow. I'm getting really down. And the first time that happened, the next morning I got up and there was an email from a lady in Barbados who said she'd found the curriculum and had been showing it in her church and how it was such a blessing to them. And I had to look up Barbados on the map and figure out where that was. And so I came and told Ruth. They said, never mind, I'm not discouraged anymore. And then a few months later, it happened again. And then we got a call. The next day, I got an email from a lady who discipled a young man in Pakistan, and he grew up and owns a Christian television station in Pakistan, which at first I didn't believe that that was a thing, but I Googled it, and sure enough, there are Christian television stations in Pakistan, and they wanted to dub Spyence into Urdu so that Pakistani people would be able to understand it, and now they show it on um, television in Pakistan and 180 other countries where there's Urdu speaking populations. And so I told Ruth and I just said, I mean, if that was all God wanted to do through the Spyence curriculum, that's way beyond anything we ever imagined. So that's exciting. And then, like a little closer to home, we were showing it at our church, and the head of our elder board texted me one day, and he said, "Hey, Pastor Kurt, I've got a bone to pick with you. I'm taking my kids to Disney World for a week, and they're complaining about it. You want to know why? Because they're going to miss the next episode of Spyence." And he said, "Thanks a lot, Spyence team." And I knew he was joking, because I know, like, he loves the fact that his kids want to be at kids' church. But on the other hand, it was a little frustrating. So I said, "Don't worry. We, like with the curriculum, there's an email to send to parents each week that gives them a link to a page where they can go and watch the video with their kids and discuss it. So if your kids
Wow.
miss a week, they can get caught up." So,
Uh,
but yeah,
I
it's so
I
so
want to
fun.
see it in action now. I want to see this curriculum in action.
You should, yeah, give it a try.
Uh,
It's really fun. Your kids, I think you'll get really good feedback.
that's so awesome. Hey, for those of you watching live and later in the whole Kidmin space in Sunday school, Wednesday nights programming, I mean, you could even use this type of thing for, retreats, or when you do, little getaways and stuff with the kids sometimes. I love the creative use of curriculum. And, when you find these things that are different, like, even if you have a set curriculum, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, Kurt, but for me, in small churches, we've had times when, like, our volunteers are burnt out, or summer is weird because
Hmm.
so many, you just can't stay on the right schedule. Like, is this something that could be popped into use for a season even?
Yes, well, we totally encourage that, because we don't even have a year's worth of it done yet. It takes so long to make. So we encourage people that, like, for example, like you said, summer is a
Yeah.
great time, and churches do switch to the curriculum for the summer and do Spyence for the summer, and it's something different and fun. And if you miss a week, you can get caught up online. And there's also review videos you can show with your class each week that shows in 3 minutes everything that happened last week.
Oh, that's
But
so cool. And honestly, as soon as I said summer, I'm like, actually, I wouldn't even use it in the summer because it sounds better than what most people are using. So I'd want like a high time, like, back to school. We're going to start out in September with, we
yeah,
have this exciting, because sometimes we do like these back to school rally days or picnics when people are coming back from vacation. We do these outreach events. Like, why not say, hey, for the next 6 weeks in Sunday school, you're not going to want to miss this because we're using Spyence. And like,
yeah,
like it'd be like almost like those special, like we're doing VBS, but we're doing it on Sundays in September. Like, I don't know.
exactly.
I think it would
Yeah,
draw so much excitement for your
yeah.
children's programs.
I
So,
love that idea. Yes, switch it for 6 weeks of special excitement. Switch back to your regular curriculum, then switch back to Spines for another 6 weeks midway through the year. And yeah,
yeah.
I think it keeps it fresh for kids too, though. The
Yeah.
variety is nice. It is tough if you have volunteer teachers and that you're asking them to learn a new curriculum.
Mhm.
Oh, and that reminds me, I should also tell you, like, if you do email me to get the curriculum, I'll send you a link to download it, but I'll also send you another email with a big orange button that says book a 30-minute Zoom call with me. And I would like to hop on, do a personal call with each church that's using it, and just hear, like, how is your computer system set up? How do you show videos in class? Let me help you, because we have it in a bunch of different formats, like PowerPoint, Keynote, and individual slides, or one continuous video where you just hit pause. You don't have to do anything except pause and play it, and help you figure out what works best for you. Or, like, what size is your class? How long is it? How many volunteers do you have? Let's figure out, what's the best way, and what parts maybe you want to cut out, what parts you want to zoom in on. Yeah, let me make it easy for your teachers. But just thinking about that, every time you switch curriculum, it's kind of a big deal, because your teachers have to go through and figure out where to find everything in the new curriculum. So yeah, I'd love to help people out.
It would even be fun, like for in small churches, like our teachers get so burnt out too, right? So we don't always have a teacher that wants to be there forever. It'd
Hmm.
be fun to have like teachers who like just know Spyence, and every time you do Spyence, they step back in and they do Spyence, and then the
Yes.
other teachers come back, and you know,
Oh, a Spyence team. Yes, I love
yeah,
that.
right? Like a
And in
Spyence
fact,
team that's only on for 6 weeks at a time. Like I'm telling
yeah.
you all, if you're watching, you can recruit with that.
Yes, and recruit guys because you can say, "Oh, they have these videos with superheroes and special effects." You like movies, don't like that, don't you? Oh, you would totally connect with the kids over this. You'd be perfect for this series. And yeah,
Oh
it
my
gets
gosh, it could be like the special dad's, grandpa's,
yeah,
even older brother's team, and you recruit you guys. We are giving you like an amazing volunteer thing right now. Is you recruit, you know, just a small team of guys. It could just be 2 or 3 or 4 of them, and they just love science, and they come in for 6 weeks. Like they're almost like the
yeah,
superheroes for the 6 weeks.
yeah.
Give the
That's right.
teachers a break.
Special forces. Yeah, I love it.
Okay, I'm just telling you right now, that is brilliant, and we should promote.
Yes, we crushed it. All right.
We did. I mean, it's so cool because so many men, like the idea of being a teacher is what drives so many people away from Sunday school because they think,
Hmm.
I can't do it. I can't do behavior management. I don't know how to do a lesson. I've never been a teacher. Like that really throws people out. But when you can say, hey, come in, special forces relief, right? Like training
Hmm.
or just come do this. It's the coolest curriculum. And by the way, you can do a Zoom call with the guy who wrote it all. And by the way, the person that put this together was like a Disney special effects Imagineer. Like, I'm serious. Like, that's a cool thing. And you'll get even talk to him on the phone, like on a
I
Zoom
would
call. Like,
love to. Yes.
oh, Kurt, I, this is like mic drop time. Like, we just figured it out for everybody.
We did it.
Okay, and is your shirt orange, or is that just kind of what it looks like on the screen?
No, the Spice colors are orange and blue, and so
I love orange. I did not do this on purpose. Orange is one of my favorite colors, and
perfect.
like I know, I wish I had a blue background. We'd be all set.
We
So,
would be. Well,
uh,
I'm in Corvallis, or we have the Oregon State Beavers, and they're orange. So yeah, it just
all
fits with
right.
Corvallis too. But
I think
uh,
I kept you longer than I told you I was going to keep you, Kurt. So thank you for the generosity of your time. Do you have any last, like, just bits of encouragement for the people out in the field, like boots on the ground, teaching kids ministry, small churches, varying numbers, mixed ages, volunteering because they're willing, but they're even a little stressed out?
yeah, well, I would just remind you and encourage you that you're in serving in the best ministry in the church. Of course, I say that, but I really believe it. I mean, think about, I mean, just for a minute, to compare it to big church where you go and you sit and you listen and maybe you sing a little or maybe you awkwardly greet people for 30 seconds. But when you teach in kids' church, you get to move around and make stuff and you get to ask kids get to ask questions and you have discussions and small groups and you really do get to know each other and oh think about this in kids church a lot of times you memorize a verse. In fact, every day in Spyence there's an activity where the kids memorize a verse. I'm thinking how many times do you leave big church knowing the main verse from the lesson, or in kids ministry there's always one main point. Like no matter what curriculum you use, they always have one main point that kids can
Yeah.
take home and remember. I'm like, oh man, why don't they teach that to pastors? Like when you come out of big church, if you had one main idea that you could just really remember, I think that'd be so awesome. So I think in children's ministry we're doing we're doing things right, and so thank you for serving in children's ministry. I really think it's so effective. I honestly think like if you serve in children's ministry, you probably go home remembering more, even though you weren't the teacher, but just being a volunteer in there. You probably remember more from that hour in kids' church that you can take home with you and actually remember during the week. Than,
Yeah.
well, I shouldn't say that's terrible. But I
No,
think
but
kid
it's
ministry
not
is great.
horrible. I think it can be really, really true. And I think sometimes when we're serving in kids ministry, we get ourselves to a place of being burned out and a little bitter sometimes because we don't have enough help or we don't have the support we wish or we've been doing it so long. And it's so good to get in touch with just that, the passion and the energy that you're showing, Kurt, that, hey, this matters and it's important and it can be fun and it can be enjoyable and we can bring others into that joy. Not like we get to where, oh, I have to do it myself because nobody else wants to. Well, find that joy and then share that. It's such a different way even to invite
Mm,
volunteers. Like
that's so
it's
good.
fun. Like let's have fun with children's ministry, right?
It is fun. And kids are like that age where they're developmentally wired. They're programmed to be figuring their world out and understanding the whys behind everything. And so we're there to share like why God created you and what you were made for and how much God loves you. And it just, and kids remember it so much better than adults. I just can't think of why would you want to serve anywhere other than children's ministry. So thank you all for serving children's ministry.
I love it. Why would you want to serve anywhere else? All right, you all. This has been Kurt Nelson with Spyence Kids Curriculum. If you're just coming in live and you didn't hear the beginning, you got to go back and hear parts of his story. Definitely check out spyencetv.com. That's where you can see this curriculum and just get to know them a little bit more. And Kurt is available and generous. And are you popping into the conference on Saturday? Do you have some time to be in and out?
I can't make it this weekend, but it was so much fun last year. I loved the you call it speed dating, but it was
networking, speed networking.
Speed networking, that's right. Yeah,
we could call it kind of speed dating for friends because it's what it feels like.
Oh yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, it was so fun. I loved that part especially. So I encourage everybody, make sure you do it. Figure out hop in before Saturday so you're ready to go because that time was amazing. So I'm sorry I missed it, but
I remembered you were in there. I think we even hopped on this. I think we got matched in the network.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So fun. All right, you all, make sure to visit spyencetv.com. Grab your free ticket if you haven't yet at smallchurchsummits.com. And if you can afford it or get your church budget in there, or I've heard churches even who they've talked to their ministry team, their children's ministry volunteer and said, hey, can we each just chip in $20 to get the VIP bundle? You all, there's $2,000 and more of resources in that bundle for less than $100. Get it before the price goes up on Friday. But really, so many creative ways to grab that. And you will also get a season of Spyence in there, plus a whole lot of other resources for your church. So make sure you check it out. Kurt, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. See you all.